Yeah. Yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Cornerman with yours truly, Ryan Quinn, and a really good friend of mine, special guest, the Pitmaster, Jon Hackleman. Coach, how are you?
Hey, good. Thanks, brother.
Good.
Been a while.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're on. It has been a while. We were just catching up before we went live here. We're going to talk about a couple things. One thing, Glover Teixeira, obviously a good friend of mine, your student forever. He's got a fight coming up. We're going to talk about that. But we were going back and forth on Twitter a little bit, and we agreed for the most part, but then there was a piece of it where we didn't agree with, where Joe Rogan was talking about wrestling and how it's not boring. And actually, I was joking. Like, I was thinking of like clickbait for the title of this. I should title it "Defending Joe Rogan." That's probably getting more clicks than anything these days. But basically, what Joe was saying is this is part of the game. This is part of fighting. You don't like it, learn how to stay away from it or how to escape from it. Yeah. I agree with that, but I'm going to give you the floor first. We were kind of texting back and forth. Go ahead.
I don't think it has anything to do with fighting because nobody is trying to hurt each other. One person is trying not to get hurt, and he's holding to not get hurt. So it's pinning. That's great in wrestling. And not that many people come watch wrestling. If you put a wrestling match and two guys fighting, swinging, just put two things going on at the same time, I bet you 90% of the people want to watch the people swinging. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but that is the truth. And if a fighter runs around the ring too much, and it's happened in the UFC, they get a yellow card in Pride. They get a warning and a point taken away for timidity. Timidity means you're trying to avoid a fight by either holding and not letting go or running around the cage or the ring. Boxing, they've had to stop fights in boxing where the guy just doesn't want to fight because you're running, and people pay and want to see two guys fighting, not one guy avoiding a fight. And you could say the guy that's running around, well, why does the opponent run faster? Because they're both supposed to be not timid, but they're both supposed to be making a fight of it. Holding isn't making a fight, and it's boring. There's a reason the crowd starts booing. It's not because they're having fun watching it. Have you ever seen anyone boo if two guys are swinging? No, they don't, because they love that, and that's what people pay to go see. So, in a pinning, it's great in the street if you just want to hold the guy down, wait for the cops, or in a wrestling match, you pin them for the count. But in an MMA match, they want continuous fighting and bettering your position and being aggressive, trying to do damage. And holding someone is not that. So, yeah, you could say you want to get up, but we get up. I teach my guys to get up during a transition. I teach my guys, if the guy just wants to lay on you and hold you, just lay back and let him hold you. The referee will either stand him up, or if it's a street fight, at least you're not getting hurt and he's getting more tired. But it's not a fight. It's like I said, try to do that in Pride, you're going to get a yellow card. And then if you keep doing it, you'll get a red card, disqualification. So, I know Joe said that. I don't think he really meant it literally. I think figuratively, yeah, if somebody's on top of you, they got your back, they're trying for a choke or something or a submission. Yeah, and you can't get out of it, then that's on you. But if he's specifically not trying to fight, trying to not fight, then I think the referee should always stand it up, just like if he's running around the cage. We've seen that before too, right? I've seen that. I've seen a yellow card in Pride if the guy's running around the cage ring too much. The referee would put up a yellow card and say, fight. And I've seen all the referees just about say, come on, guys, make it a fight. Holding is not a fight. So that's what I think.
All right, for those, and actually, I was going to bring up the yellow card system that Japan uses, which I think is great. For
Yeah.
those of you watching who want to get a good example of that, watch Kevin Randleman versus Rampage. They both got yellow carded in that fight. You'll see
Rampage
what
got
we're
a
talking
yellow
about.
card?
They did actually. Rampage was pissed. Yeah, it was Rampage and Kevin Randleman. They both got yellow carded.
Can't imagine
Um,
Rampage ever getting a
yeah.
yellow card.
Wait, was it Kevin? I'm pretty sure it was Kevin Randleman.
No, I
Rampage,
mean
because
I
I
can't
remember.
imagine Rampage getting one. I can imagine Randleman because he was wrestling and they go to what they know, and sometimes if they get hurt or they want to avoid a fight, they're going to go to what they know. Hold.
I know it was Rampage because this is the first time I was watching. Well, not the first time I was watching Pride, but Pride had the referee cam, and they showed the yellow card from the referee. I'll never forget Rampage with that grill in his mouth. Go. So I knew it was Rampage. But now, all right, going back to what we were saying. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with the stand-ups. I think that there needs to be some kind of fight. But I think the person on bottom, I think that he is responsible for trying to stand up himself too. Um, I think though that if he's continuously getting up to a knee and dragged back down, that's a form of activity, and that might work against the stand-ups. But which I don't think Joe realizes, because a lot of guys, they play jujitsu on the ground, so that doesn't happen. I'm in favor of the stand-ups, but I think as far as avoiding ground wrestling now. Guys, remember, we're not talking about the act of taking people down and throwing them. We're talking about riding someone out on the ground when we say wrestling. Um, I'm in favor of that. I think if they're staying busy, showing some elbows, I think that the person on bottom, it's their responsibility to work to get out. I was a wrestler that went into mixed martial arts. I needed to learn how to throw hands. If I got to learn something, then they got to learn something. And I know what you're saying with the ground game in a street fight or as well as a fight, but at the end of the day, we're still trying to show a mix. We don't want to take too much away, I think, from all the styles. We're trying to see what we can add.
But
And
what
unfortunately, that's
style is
part of it.
holding? Holding isn't a style in MMA, and it's not a viable technique. It's a way to avoid a fight. You're avoid fighting if you're holding him and pounding him or holding him and going for submission, then yeah, it's your job on the bottom. But if he's doing nothing but holding him down, where's the fight? He's not trying to fight. He's not going to hurt the guy on the bottom. The guy on the bottom can just lay there for the whole 5 minutes and nobody's going to get hurt. It's avoiding fighting that I think should not be done. Just like I don't think you should run around and avoid getting hit, right? I mean,
Well,
you get in trouble for that.
I see that, but also, this is kind of a lost art, and plus, it's kind of the officiating and the promotion's fault that this is a lost art. You used to be able to win fights from being active on the bottom with submissions as well as strikes. You can't do that anymore. I think that right away the referees look at, and correct me if I'm wrong or give your opinion on it. If I don't really see anybody active on the bottom anymore. I just see them trying to look to butt scoot to the cage. That's what I kind of see. But you used to be able to win fights on the bottom with activity, with elbows to the head, submission attempts, punches, stuff like that. I think if we saw more of that, there'd be a little more activity. First of all, wrestlers wouldn't be like, okay, when I'm thinking of somebody that's active on the ground like Damian Maia, my primary focus is to take people down. Guess what? It's not going to be against Damian Maia. So this is where I think the person that got taken down has some responsibility in avoiding that.
Yeah. Yeah. But so I think, yeah, but I mean, because that argument is changing, because once you get on top and you're trying for striking or trying for some kind of submission, okay, or if on the bottom he's trying for submission, I think the reason I don't think they don't like submissions from the bottom or striking from the bottom, I think the people on top are much more intelligent now, much more educated in the game. So they're not getting submitted from the guard as much anymore. The guard used to be a 50-50 position. Now it's not, but you still can't submit from the bottom. I mean, so if a guy gets submitted from the bottom, that's great. But if a guy who's on top is avoiding everything and any kind of contact or any kind of bettering a position, then I think then he's not only avoiding any submission, he's avoiding any kind of fighting whatsoever. So pinning and holding down is a lot different than being on top and trying to better your position or hurt your opponent submitting or striking. So I'm all for that. But if they're just laying and holding, trying to ride out the clock, riding out the clock doesn't go well for boxing, kickboxing, or MMA. So I think it's frowned upon, and it's penalized in boxing, kickboxing, and MMA. But it's done in different ways in all three sports. But I think it's still frowned upon because that's not what people want to go see. They want to see a fight with action and two people trying to hurt each other. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to look for two people that are hurting each other. And if they're not doing that from the fight, from the top, yellow card, or a, not a literal or a figurative yellow card, a warning. And if they're on the bottom not doing anything, then they're just going to get hurt. So I think no matter what position you're in, if you're not trying to hurt the guy, then you're being timid. They call it timidity.
Yep.
But just like standing, the guy would run. Even if you try to chase him, if some guy's avoiding a fight, then you can't make him want to fight. The referee has to step in. That means and stand up and on the ground. So I think that is a referee job, and I think it's boring as shit. I think wrestling is a very important part of MMA. I think it's a very important part of the street fighting. But I think in and of itself as a sport, I think it's very, 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 very boring.
I think that if I had it my way, I would rather yellow cards and disqualification before a stand-up. I think that as soon as you pull someone's 5%, they're going to start getting busy. Because I think if you stand up, guess what? I think they still have the option to take them back down and go back down there for 30 seconds.
Yeah, but then that yellow card becomes a red card if you do it again.
Then get busy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But who do you, if the guy's on top and he's holding them and preventing a fight and just pinning him, the guy on top is going to get the yellow card, not the guy in the bottom.
I agree with you. I agree with you there. Now,
because
the guy on bottom, he still has to show. I mean, so do you think the guy on bottom, he's cool? Like he's not in the wrong to just wait there and just look at the ref like this? Like,
no, but I think why is he trying to get out of a non-hold, non-threatening position? I mean, if it's a non-threatening position, I wouldn't try to get it. I'd take a rest down there, and
but what on the scorecards though? Then he's in a losing position though. Still, he's in non-damage threatening, but he's still in a losing position because he's on bottom. And he was. I mean, now now we're getting crazy, now I'm getting crazy, but. What if he pulled guard? Did he take him down? But let's just assume he took him down. Not pulling guard's pretty rare in MMA now. I think if he just waits there, that he's chewing clock himself in a disadvantageous position. So that's why I think the person on bottom, he's responsible to work a little bit.
Right. If the guy at the bottom has guard, then that's a whole different story. Now he's in a position where he can attack, not just lay there. But if the guy had him in some kind of side control and he was just holding him and squeezing him and not trying to attack him at all, then I think he's stalling. But if the guy's in his guard, the guy from the bottom can attack. He can attack like crazy. He can attack with strikes, with submissions, and it's much easier to sweep and reverse if you have guard. So I think guard is a I think that's a moot point. I think what we worry about, or what we're mainly talking about, would be, I'd say guard or half or side control or half guard maybe.
Yeah.
Never mount. I mean, you're never gonna get bored in the mount, and the guy in the bottom always has to move out of the mount. But to me, the side control, you can kind of hold someone there and kind of avoid a fight. So that's what I don't agree with. But if somebody's on top of you in a mount, you better get the fuck out because he can posture up and start pounding you.
Right. Now,
But
so
anyway,
what would your solution be to that? What would your solution be to this? As far as like, okay, this stand-ups, we both. So do you think you agree with stand-ups? Would that be your solution? Just yeah, Joe, you're wrong. Stand-ups are good.
I think in certain areas stand-ups are good,
Uh-huh.
and in
What if
certain
they
areas they're not. I
what
think
if
if
they
the
stood
guy
them
on
up?
top is avoiding a fight by just holding the guy down, if he has an advantageous, position because of gravity, then yeah, I think it should be it is right. You're not going to stand up a guy who's mounted you. Never. You're never going to stand up a guy who has your back, and you're not going to stand up. No referee now. They're way too smart to
Yeah.
stand you up if you're in any type of position where you can attack. But if he sees that you're just trying to hold and you're not trying to fight anymore, of course he's going to stand you up because people are paid to see a fight, not a positional game. It's not a game, it's a fight. People want to see a real fight. They don't want to see someone hold someone down. They don't want to see somebody not fight from the bottom. They want to see
Mhm.
two people who are continually trying to hurt the other person.
What if instead of standing up straight to the feet, and now let me explain why before. Now that person's holding you down because he wants none of anything anymore. Usually,
Right.
He's tired. He doesn't want. So in a sense, a straight stand up, you're actually giving that person some time to reset. What if they stood them up and put them on the fence right away? Now he's got to work for another takedown while this person's standing.
I don't like positional resets when
Okay.
the referee stands them up because too many times it's not quite exactly where they were or where they should be, and
Mhm.
it gives people the other person too much or gives them too much of an unfair advantage. I think just saying get up and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
then
It's
they're
like it's similar to the way the clinch is in parterre in wrestling, or not parterre, but like well it's not the over under anymore, but like when they choose like this in freestyle.
so they
But
just give you a 50, so you got a 50-50 chance, right?
yeah, but everyone has a favorite side. That
Yeah.
like I love my left underhook. So like if I get the coin toss, I'm always going left underhook. So it's 50-50, but it's not going to your exactly what you were saying. So all right, so okay, I'm with you, coach. I'm good with the stand-ups. I worry I get protective over my tribe, I guess, with the wrestling.
But
I've
you got to
seen
realize, people. I'm a stand-up guy. I
Mhm,
love and most people, the 99% of the population
mhm.
loves stand-up swinging.
Yeah.
Um, but half of my team favors the ground.
Hmm.
It's not like I have a team of all stand-up guys and I mean, Glover, come on. I mean, Big Brother, Isaiah Rocha, Isaiah Hughes, most of my guys,
Hmm.
two of my guys that fought this last week, they both won. Um, one guy just by continually taking the other guy down, and it was a decision. And my other guy got a fucking Mark the Hammer Coleman type ground and pound win. So my two
Nice.
guys that fought this weekend, both of them won on the ground. So I mean,
You don't
we
discriminate.
train. We I don't consider wrestling. I don't consider the ground wrestling at the pit. Like in my
Uh-huh.
Hawaiian Kempo system, wrestling is stand up. Um, so I think to me, wrestling is the fight. Once the fight is standing and the people are connected now,
Hmm.
any position, any type of clinch, I consider that wrestling. And then my main definition of wrestling is either taking your opponent to the ground or keeping the fight standing. Those two things, I feel, wrestling decides more than anything else in
Hmm.
MMA. And that's why it's so important, because the striker wants to stay up, the jiu-jitsu guy wants to stay down. So the guy that's the better wrestling, has better wrestling, can keep the fight where he wants more. So I consider wrestling the art of taking down or avoiding the takedown.
Yeah.
That's just my easy definition.
The art of determining the fight. They're determining where the fight's going.
Where it ends up.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, the first and foremost example is your boy Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, just defensive wrestling and pounding people. Just
and then Glover's the opposite.
Yeah.
Glover is the opposite. He wants to take his guy down, stay on him, and brutalize him on the ground. He has great hands, just like Chuck had great takedowns. But Glover chooses to go to the ground. Chuck chose, and they both did it with outstanding wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm not just talking this shit. I mean, we do this shit. But if we don't stay on the ground, and we know without the striking or submission, right? Besides a great slam or great takedown here and there, like Sammy Henson used to do, the rest of wrestling, it doesn't, like, people don't go, they're not at the edge of their seat unless one of their family members is wrestling.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think if you watch like NCAA finals, Olympic wrestling tends to be a little bit slower, but like NCAA finals, when you got, but you can't do this in MMA because you can't stand up this way in MMA because you're gonna get choked out.
Yeah.
But like the escape game in wrestling is, it's fun to watch, trying to find watching that mat battle. But that being said, before we segue, because we were just talking about Glover, I'm doing a video after this for those of you who are watching. I'm going to be doing a video about some stand-ups that I have in mind to avoid this, what Coach is talking about. But all right, you brought up Glover. He's fighting June 11th, UFC 275 against Jiri Pachacek. I always mess up his name. Everyone's super pumped for Glover. You know, he's the best. He's like you said, big brother. You know, I know he was out there a couple weeks ago, I believe, a few weeks ago. How's everything going? Everything's looking good?
Yeah. He's
not that you would tell me if it wasn't right, but no, but go ahead.
It usually isn't with him. I mean, it's always great with him. He's like, he just reinvented himself, and he's I mean, people talk the talk a lot. You know, oh, you got to live for the present. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. Live for the present. You know, don't just, wait till perfect time. You make the time. They have all these cliches, but Glover does them. Most people just talk it. Glover does them. I mean, he's like fucking there. He's at a fight. He's cornering his fight team. Even while he's the light heavyweight champion of the world, he's cornering his fight team over here. He's running his 3 to 5 year old kids program over here. He's bettering his life, planning his future by buying rental properties. I mean, the guy's fucking amazing, and he's like got so much shit going on right now, and he deals with it, by meditating and taking ice baths and saunas and training and doing archery and hanging out with his friends. And he's the guy that everybody wants to be like, but he's really like that.
Yeah. I remember when he was training for Jon Jones, he had an off day and he went with his old landscaping company. He worked the day. Like he really, that's just Glover. He's just, I'm going to live now. I'm going to do this now. I want to do it. And he's the best. I've been saying forever, I think that, first of all, like you said, his wrestling is so underrated. I don't know why people just realized this last year that his wrestling is so damn good. He took down Ryan Bader, no problem. He took down everybody, I don't know why they just realize now that his wrestling is so good. I think personally that he has the best ground game in the light heavyweight division. And that's why I think he's in every fight. And that's why, he's so good. And like I know, like when he first came up, yes, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, but he made a point to learn wrestling. And he's just so, when it comes to training, just so good at stepping outside his comfort zone, just to really just learn something new. And that's why he's the best. I was about to say, and it would have been a total insult. That's why he's in every fight with this division, but he's the best in this division. And that's why I think he's the best when he matches up against everybody else.
Yeah, I understand. I think he, obviously he has something to do with that, but I think Chuck had something to do with it too. I think he helped Chuck helped him better his fight game, just like he helped Chuck. And
Mhm.
together, those two guys were the definition of iron sharpens iron, you know.
Yeah, for sure. For
And
sure.
I mean, it was kind of fun to watch. And now, you know, both coming out of the pit, and
Mhm.
one guy, they're like complete opposites, but the same in their strategies and their fighting skill sets. And it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. Actually, damn, it was probably 15 years ago. You guys had the DVD of the pit training video, and just watching about like, man, they're so like you said, we said probably 5 times already. Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound, submission, and no, I could totally see that. So, man, I'm super pumped for it. I can't wait to see him do his thing. Uh, Coach John Hackleman, thank you so much, Pitmaster. Definitely want to have you on again, maybe after Glover's fight. And it's so good to see you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, talk to you.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.